This is here the updated Toyota Yaris Cross. It is actually the most sold Toyota in Europe. In 2023, over 200,000 pieces were sold. Why is it? Why is it so popular in Europe actually? And by the way, my father-in-law has one of this, the pre-facelift one. So maybe at the end of the review, I can tell him, get the updated one, or is it not that important? We'll find out. Everything for you. Thomas Nadegefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go. The GR Sport, this is a special sporty line, the one I have right here, together with the grey, fitting cloth color as well. And the GR Sport here has this honeycomb design in the sporty racing style. So makes it a little bit spiced up, so to speak. Headlamps, you can also get optional matrix LED for the Yaris Cross. And the wheels start 16-inch, an option you can get even up to 18-inch, the ones you can see here. The crossover cladding here is really large. And the length it's really small, actually 4 meters 18 or 165 inches. But how much space will we have in the interior, we'll find out soon. Here in the GR Sport, together with the grey, I think it's a very cool design. Daring, but not too daring. That's at least my take. What do you think? Also important, what are the major upgrades now? First of all, NVH, noise, vibration, harshness. That's the expression in the automotive industry for what you hear on the inside from what's happening on the outside, like wind noises, rattling noises, everything and so on from the engine. And they have upgraded that. So first of all, they have now an acoustic front windshield. That's the first big upgrade. Then they have thicker side windows. That's the second biggest upgrade. And some other smaller improvements. And I'm really looking forward if I notice that while driving. Also, the engine is supposed to be better insulated from the interior cabin. So this will all make the car and the drive a little bit more silent. At the same time, you get more power. Under the hood, you have a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder hybrid. There we go, no gas struts, so we put it right here. This is it, and either 116 horsepower or now also a version with 130 horsepower, that's new. 10.7 seconds is the acceleration figure for the front wheel drive, and you also can get optional electric all-wheel drive, so you have an electric mode at the rear axle then. That is then half a second slower than the front wheel drive version. However, this front wheel drive version in comparison to the predecessor is a second quicker than in the overall acceleration figure. So this will help you especially like when overtaking. Also like this mid-range acceleration thing, especially for overtaking on the motorway and some. This is also something that Toyota says they have fixed now or made it a little bit quicker. That's a little bit more comfortable for you to drive it because yes, obviously they are not the most powerful and sporty engines in the world, but they at least tried to make it a little bit better. The overall hybrid drivetrain has also been updated, so probably we will also get a little bit better mileage. In the shade here, you can better see the shape of the vehicle. That's awesome, right? And also here, the rear light strip. I think it looks really cool. It has like an inbuilt rear wing, but then you can see the light signature when it's on. It's just outside, but not inside. A little bit deceiving, isn't it? Then the GR Sport has this massive, it's like a small SUV and it's like a huge diffuser sports car style. Look at that with the honeycomb structure. Wow. 170 kilometers now is, by the way, the top speed for this one. And you get the GR Sport badge. And the big question is, of course, what does fit in the trunk? 400 liters. We have 320 actually for the all-wheel drive model because you lose a little bit, because of the all-wheel drive system. And this is a very interesting splitter here. But first of all, the measurements quickly. This is 1.40 meters in width. And this is here 80 centimeters or 31 inches in length. Not too bad indeed. And this here then the split here. You can do it like this underneath if you want to store it like this. Or you can also put the whole thing out. That would also be possible. And yeah, they are not too heavy actually, so why not? Unusual, but why not? Underneath could be also used for a full spare tire if you like that. And the way you put that one in, then you have not such a high loading still, or maybe you could put something underneath and so on. This cover here has pro and con. On the one hand, you see it's like wobbly and what about the quality? But then actually one of you told me, and I'm also constantly learning by the comments, for example. That's why I spend so much time of my daily time with reading your comments. That's really true, because I just love to keep like the interaction and all. Yeah, actually also learn, because there's sometimes like some good ideas, because someone of you said, yeah, this might look weird and wobbly, but then again, when you put something underneath, it's flexible, it's not hard, so something higher can still fit in there without this being pushed up too much, and it also holds the luggage underneath tight. So that is the pro thing about that. And then I can also reach over, since it's quite flexible, like this, and I can also fold the seats 1/3, 2/3, but you can see here, this only folds flat when I put the front seats in the front, like this, then they fold down, and then I can put them back again. You have to do it with some vehicles like this, put them back again, that's fine, yeah, just a little bit more work. Key fob looks like this, GR badge here on the side. This 30 here is just the number of the vehicle on this event. It's not there for the customer actually, but also looks racing style, right? Then door closing sound. Yeah, I really love it from the exterior, but that's obviously something that Toyota is not paying attention to at all. Maybe if they watched a little bit more Autogefühl, then they would also advise the engineers to upgrade the door closing sound, right? So best greetings to Japan. This one here, by the way, is built both in Japan and also in France. In France and for the European market, huge plant. I heard it's even the most produced car model in France at the moment, not from one of the French manufacturers. That's also, but I mean, like, considering they build like over 200,000 per year, that's really reasonable. Huh? Wow. Then inside of the doors, it's structured somewhat, but hard pack. Oh, yeah, it's really hard pack. And then here also, this is like a fabric covering, but it's not soft underneath. It's hard underneath, at least a fabric covering. Then like this whole thing where you have the handle like hidden in a way. Kind of, yeah, weird design, honestly, a little bit, isn't it? Door pocket also not covered at all from the inside, but nice GR entry badge, and also the GR Sport badge at the floor mats, so that's cool. And also then here in this trim, GR Sport steering wheel, some red contrast stitches, real buttons at the steering wheel to control everything. That's also cool. Right side, for example, also for the cruise control. And one of my favorite seats here, they are pretty cool. So here in the GR Sport you get microfiber, and the red shines through from the background. That's pretty neat, right? GR Sport badge is also embossed right here. And let's take a seat, see how comfortable they are, because again, it's a small SUV, but then you think European roads, sometimes it's narrow and traffic is increasing and so on. But at the same time, as a tall person, you have good seating comfort here. That's lovely. I really like that. And yeah, when you look at the cockpit and so on, and this GR Sport trim, I understand why my father-in-law actually picked this one, also in the GR Sport trim, because you sit down and you immediately feel like, oh wow, it's like I get in a good mood. I like that. I want to drive it. It's just fun in a way. That's cool. I was so serious when I said, oh, it's just fun. Let me repeat it. It's just fun. That was more nicer, right? Sorry, I'm German. Then here 189, 6'2", still have some headroom left. Yeah, I'm on the joke side today. Michelle is laughing all the time behind the camera. I also have to be serious a little bit. And yeah, I would say we take a look at the cockpit now, Michelle. Maybe walk around. All right, now I'll use the force to open the door for Michelle. And the cockpit perspective, really cleaned up overall, I would say. This is here so much soft touch also on the dashboard here in the structure. Also here, it's not entirely hard. Glove box is also dampened. Yeah, I like that. Well done, Toyota. Remember, this is also a sister model to the Lexus LBX, by the way. And what we see here, especially in the GR Sport trim, is maybe not worse at all. Upgrades here, especially for the infotainment and the instruments. Infotainment starts 9-inch, or optional this one here, 10.5-inch. You see here the wireless Apple CarPlay, and besides that, of course, Android Auto is available. And here I usually prefer the dark mode for the infotainment system. That looks a little bit more elaborated. And here they have a manual volume jog as well. Digital instruments would start 7-inch, but just in the middle, and this is the full digital instruments, 12.3-inch, also news here with the upgrade. And you can optionally also get a head-up display. AC unit, here you control the fan speed, and yeah, my favorite, that I can still turn something and not everything via touch and so on. That's good actually. And also for the seat heating. Oh look, hey, listen to that. Clicking sounds here for the seat heating, 2 levels. In the front there's also inductive charging pad. It's not cooled, however, as far, I don't see any cooling holes at least, so that also says here that it might overheat indeed, 2 USB-C chargers as well. Then here there's like the shifting here. B mode is rather, by the way, to use the engine brake indeed. Then you can also trigger an EV mode, but that is like you prefer to drive electric, maybe like in the city or something, but doesn't make too much sense. Usually leave it in auto mode and that's it actually. Cup holders are not adaptive. This is all hard pack, not the best maybe there. Interesting is that under the armrest there's like a split, and does it work smartphone wise? Yeah, that also would work actually. That's maybe not the best idea. It's time for comments. Thomas in the rear seat with the time code. Here, hard pack at the rear doors, also nothing covered here at all. And then that's the thing, you know that probably you already taken from my comments that I really like this vehicle, but the only thing it does not offer, but it's also a short vehicle, is rear legroom, not too much. But I mean, considering the length of this vehicle and that I can comfortably sit here as a tall adult in the front, you see here when I put my knees forward, yeah, but when I just put my legs like a little bit outward here, it still somewhat works. And also headroom wise with 189, 6'2", no problem at all. So maybe not for tall adult proof, but you see here when legs are like this, then it somewhat works. In the middle you could also sit actually, and you can also pull this one thing only down like as a ski hatch, and then you have hardback cup holders. I mean, it's an interesting idea, right? Isn't it? So maybe unusual, but okay. And yeah, I mean, when the front seat is pushed a little bit more forward like this would be more realistic. Maybe that also works. You can drive the vehicle more or less with 4 taller persons. It's okay, but in the middle part is like, yeah, just maybe for a shorter trip. Still, the usage of space overall is excellent, I really have to say. Yeah, then of course we gotta drive it, and later on tell you more about consumption and also the price. Interesting detail, when the ignition is on and I switch between the auto headlamps and the daytime running light, see the lower part there, this is only active when there are the auto headlamps and the car is actually on. So that looks also cool with this vertical signature, and even more interesting, here the turning indicator in the front then replaces with the vertical signature. And in the top matrix LED trim, you can see here also cascading turning indicator in the rear. Wow. And the second exterior and interior, if you don't want to go for the GR Sport, this is here a Premier Edition, so also a higher trim level. And Urban Khaki is this vehicle color here, something different, mint green something. And you see the non-GR Sport version, here has a different grille then in the top and also in the lower part. Interesting gray contrast here. I mean, this is also a nice choice, isn't it? And this one is also equipped with the contrasting black roof, but you can also get uni-color, for example, vehicles. Of course, more colors are available. And in the rear, the most significant change is once again the lower part, where you don't have this sporty diffuser side, but more a plain look. But this is also good because no fake exhaust at all. So yeah, I really second that. And then let's take a look at the interior right here, because steering wheel seats are a little bit different. So this being not the GR Sport, you can see the steering wheel is, let's say, a little more simple. And also the seats here then in fabric. By the way, all the seats are animal free. So the slick surfaces you see here is a high grade leatherette with very good quality indeed. So this is then here the fabric leatherette mix, whereas the GR Sport would be microfiber leatherette mix. And yeah, let me take a seat here to test the comfort in comparison. And the ergonomics are the same actually, just the steering wheel by the way, and the shifting lever, that is still animal content, but they will change it eventually, maybe in a couple of years. With the all new models they already began that. And to be very specific here, which one of the seats here, the fabric seat or the microfiber seat, might be better in summer or winter? I feel in winter time probably the microfiber seat is a little bit more cozy, I would say. In summertime it depends. On the one hand, a fabric surface can even be a little bit more breathable than the microfiber. Then again, the microfiber is perforated. But the more crucial point is that here with the fabric seat, this upper area here is in leather red, whereas this upper area here with the microfiber seat would also be completely in microfiber. And that's why this upper area can be kind of sweaty in summertime. And so the microfiber seat also has an advantage in summertime. So overall, both are great, but I would rather tend with the microfiber seat, or then a very base fabric seat will also be available. That will also be just fine. Well, if you couldn't decide for a specific color, you just take them all. Like this. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Toyota Yaris Cross. Here the updated version. Also we're driving the 130 horsepower version, the new upgraded hybrid one, more power now. And cool thing is, all silent. We drive in the EV mode because we have some battery buffer left at the moment. And so when I'm just easily cruising here, maybe like city, rural environment and so on, it's totally ease. You also hear that like the additional EV sound is generated on the exterior. You also hear on the interior. It's maybe, yeah, we actually hear that as well. And then when I'm driving a little bit quicker, then it's actually gone. And also when I'm a little bit more on the throttle, then the combustion engine hops on. I can also see it here in this digital RPM meter. And so it always constantly switches back and forth. And at the end of the driving part, I can also then give you a consumption figure. But so far, the Toyota hybrid systems, they are very reliable and they also run very efficient. That's the cool thing. So yes, you can go to different driving modes here. For example, there is this EV mode, for example. But at the moment, it says like unavailable during warming up. You can stress the EV mode a little bit more by that. But still, when it's not available, then it still won't work. So not sure how much sense is there in this separate, yeah. Now it automatically switches. I was off the throttle, rolling over this bump. Now I'm in the EV mode again. And what I want to show you initially when I'm driving, there it is, like above 25, 26 kilometers an hour, then there is this, like this EV chimer here is gone. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on camera. There it is. A little bit quicker. There, it's gone. Because then at a certain speed, the rolling noise from the tires, it's louder anyways. And there's also another drive mode selector here. There I can switch to this power mode, eco mode, normal mode. There it is. And yeah, by that, you have a little bit more response from the throttle, for example. Yeah, you can pick that when you want to accelerate and so on. And I think they also picked these new, nice, modern visualizations for that. It's very interesting, by the way, that here the GR Sport version does have somewhat of a different setup. That means the steering is a little bit more direct, and I think it's really crisp, you know, I really like it. Look at that. So here in the slalom way, it's very nice to control, has a great size, and here there are no dead angles in the steering. Every command is precisely transported to the road. And this GR Sport version also has somewhat of a sportier setup from a suspension. So it's not only a design line. They really, because I specifically asked them for that, they really did some slight changes then also to how it drives actually. This is also equipped with 18-inch wheels here. That means that's a sportier setup, and that gives me a nice and direct feeling. You do feel you sit a little bit higher since it's a small SUV, in contrast to just a small normal hatch or something. So this difference is being felt. However, when I'm driving over some bumps here and so on, it's not that I would have like, it's like the urban khaki, the other launch color. So there it is. So at the same time, I don't feel like a huge difference that it would be like too sporty or too stiff or something. Let's do an acceleration right here. So from 0, and let's also put in the power mode, and let's see, 10.7 seconds. It says not sure, I won't reach 100 here, but let's just see how it goes. Let's go. That's 80. It's enough for now. It's actually quite good, and yeah, definitely more powerful than before. And they actually really worked that over the whole, RPM curve and so on. You always have more power available, also while overtaking and so on. That's actually quite nice. Here now a little bit bumpier. Yeah, you do feel it, especially with the 18-inch, but I think it's still okay somewhat. If you want more comfort, you have two possibilities. A, stick with smaller wheels. B, don't pick the GR Sport. However, my estimation is that getting smaller wheel size will do more for your comfort than just not getting the GR Sport, you know what I mean? Yeah, but I think overall the setup is really nice. It feels like a fun, small SUV. That's what they definitely achieved. And, you know, I had this feeling initially when I just got the looks of this vehicle, and it really delivers what it promises. That's actually a very, very cool thing to have. Now it's some potholes here. Yeah, you do feel it when the road gets a little bit rougher, that it's not like a, you know, like large adaptive suspension vehicle or something. That's not happening. But still, the main purpose of that is to feel agile and also good in the city and so on. And that's working very well. Also, nice sound when it's really tight here. Nice sound when I put in the turning indicator. That's fun. And well, you have the 3-cylinder petrol engine in here as base for that hybrid. And the fun thing is that the 3 cylinders, they always sound cooler somehow than the 4 cylinders, don't they? So yeah, that's definitely also something to consider. And by the way, you maybe sometimes hear this speed chime. For the EU market, it is mandatory, but there is a way actually to deactivate that. And it's a little bit they don't get any hotkeys or something for that. That's not their philosophy. You have to hold them. Here, select settings. There, yeah. Just press OK one time, then go to RSA and then turn it off, and then the speed chime is actually off. And here we can do acceleration one more time. Let's close that for you. Let's see, and let's go. A little bit of spin in the front. Oh, that's 100 kilometers an hour. So, yeah. I mean, decently enough, definitely. Yeah, a little bit of wheel spin right there, but that's totally fine. You see, it was still very well to control also, even when we were accelerating out of this corner. And now some motorway driving. We once again switch to the power mode. I will delay the getting onto the motorway here a little bit, that we can start directly here from a certain speed. And this will be 40 to 120 kilometers an hour. Let's go. That's, we can rescore 40, like very, very slightly uphill. And let's go. That's 90. I have to stop here. So this is 40 to 90 kilometers an hour. Very nice. Yeah, but due to that, I can do some more 80 to 120. Let's go. That was 80 to 115. Also had to cancel that for safety reasons. But yeah, it is not the sportiest vehicle, of course. But considering now, definitely quicker than before. So I like the power upgrade. Good to have the 130 horsepower. I would definitely go for this version here. Below 100 kilometers an hour, below 60 miles an hour, it's also okay from the wind noise. But when you drive a little bit quicker, like here now at 110 kilometers an hour, something like that, like 65 miles an hour or something, then the wind noise is picking up, not necessarily from the mirrors, but here from the B-pillar actually. So yes, they have some new insulation measures, and they help that it's better than before. Still, I have to say, at 120 kilometers an hour, like 65, 70 miles an hour, not ideal. So I had so much fun driving. It's a little bit calmer, sportier, great city driving, great hybrid drivetrain. But then again, yeah, as for the noise insulation, it's not the ideal thing if you drive motorway high speed. That's the one catch it has. But yeah, you just have to know that actually. Oh, this is like the racetrack Mallorca. We have always, we've been driving there a couple of times. We have a couple of reviews with the racetrack here in Mallorca as well. Nice track. So you know, lane change, that's awesome. You know, like that. Wow, like the driving characteristic, how it handles is awesome. That's really awesome. Blind spot monitor is also, by the way, in the side mirrors, and here on the right side, I feel I'd rather drive 100 kilometers an hour with this car. So here on the right side, right thumb, I activate the cruise control, and let's see how smooth it also reacts. Oh, I set it to 120, now it accelerated to 120 again, so now again, there we go. So here, active lane keeping is also active now, more standard assistance systems now. This is also inside the upgrade, and here, motorway is slightly bent to the right, and you see here, very smooth. Oh, does it work with touch or with, let's see, no, it's no capacitive. So yeah, the steering needs some movement that still knows you're there. So it's still level 2, but I feel this is very good as for the, see, there's no hectic movements and so on. So very satisfied with that. And not sure if one of the cameras does pick up the blind spot monitor. It appears in the side mirror. And then when I hit the turning indicator, I get an additional flashing of that blind spot monitor. So I like that they put more standard from the assistance systems, and they also work in a very flawless way. Yeah, my most favorite feature is really like the seats here, also great for tall people, and every lane change is so much fun. So I'm surprised how great and agile this car is handling. The only catch is the wind noise at higher speeds. Even though they did these insulation measures, they could not achieve it that it's really very silent on the motorway. That's not happening yet. And I could do the lane change all day. And the other thing, the catch for tall persons, so here my right knee, it does work, but it's kind of narrow between the steering and the middle console. It directly fits in, but that's about it. So these are the only 2 catches. Other than that, here for a small SUV here, it's really so much fun in driving, and yeah, I really liked it as a small car choice overall. Hybrid drivetrain, of course. One of the big things here is always, what about the consumption? But before we talk about consumption and final conclusion and so on, we will quickly drive here the non-GR Sport model, because Toyota said, as you maybe remember, that the steering and the suspension is a little bit different with the GR Sport model. And yeah, let's just try to find out if that is any different actually. So, of course, the base feeling is more or less the same. We also have 18-inch wheels mounted here, so we can very well compare. And let's see then how it turns out when I'm running over these speed bumps, for example, and when the road is a little bit uneven and so on. Steering wheel feels a little bit different because it doesn't have the perforation. And then here, yeah, maybe slightly different indeed. It's a little bit like when, these, let's see if it also changes in the driving mode. That doesn't seem to do anything, but there are a lot of vehicles that when you change the driving mode from normal to sport, then the steering characteristic changes a little bit, and that's somehow how it feels. So indeed, the GR Sport steering feels a little bit more progressive, I would say. That's my impression. It's not that this one is bad at all. It also has, no dead zone area and so on, but definitely. Yeah, here I feel it more. I mean, there is some command, but I feel like when I do like this with the GR Sport, that it already would do more. So the progressiveness, let's call it that way, that is a little bit better with the GR Sport. So steering, I would say, I really like more with the GR Sport, both for sporty driving and also for comfortable driving. Suspension-wise, it's really tough to say. I really hopped from car to car now. To really get you the best experience, best difference. But Michelle, what would you say? Do you feel any difference in suspension as a passenger? It's really tough to tell, So maybe here, like in this plop, plop, and then this bump here. It's maybe a little bit softer, but it's not the world, It's not that we say, hey, the GR Sport is rather uncomfortable, sporty in a way, and so, and this one isn't. No, I would rather say that they do come close. Maybe it's slight difference, little difference, but the bigger difference will definitely be, as I expected, when you pick smaller wheels. So GR Sport, you can definitely go for it. You don't lose comfort. Yeah, maybe there's a slight difference. And if you want more driving comfort, then it would definitely need to be just smaller wheels. That's the way you can also individualize that. Pricing, well, here in Europe, they are not that cheap like you get some entry levels in the US from Toyota. So here, 29,000 euros up to around 40,000 euros. For that size of a vehicle, it's of course quite expensive, but it's only like all-wheel drive, highest trim, GS Sport, and so on and so on. You can also get some mid-trim level vehicles. So yeah, it's not cheap in a way, but other cars are not cheap at all. Car prices have risen in general. And what's also really good here with Toyota, they always score very good results in reliability rankings. So you can very well also not only lease one, but actually also buy one without worrying that it will break down or something. And consumption, something between 4 and 5 liters on 1 kilometer, so like 55 mpg US, 65 mpg UK. So of course not that much, quite efficient, but it's also a small vehicle. And recently, for example, with the Skoda Octavia, which is a way larger vehicle, is only MHEV, mild hybrid, we scored something similar actually. So yeah, but still you can be satisfied. It won't cost you much money as for the fuel, that's for sure. And also interesting that in the statistics of how often we drive all electric is most of the time that we drive more than half of the time we drive electric. That's also, of course, good. Also, as for the CO2 output and maybe like inside the city, less fumes and so on and so on. And then, yeah, what would I tell my father-in-law? The upgrades are definitely very nice with the more power and, you know, some more refinement on the interior and so on. That's definitely cool. It's not exactly a reason to ditch the previous one, like the pre-facelift. There, the gap is not too large, I would say, but definitely another reason to pick this one here as a small SUV. I think the overall performance is very decent, and you should check out some of the competitors.